In this video, we're learning how to graph linear equations that are written in slope-intercept form. And if you look at the top of the screen, we have slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So slope-intercept form shows us the slope and the y-intercept of our equation very easily. So let's jump into example 1, which is y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So what we want to do first is identify our slope and our y-intercept. So our m value is 1/2 because that's what's in front of our x, and our b value is positive 3. So remember, this is our slope, and this is our y-intercept. And now what you want to do is start by plotting your y-intercept. So I'll write that over here. So step 1 is plot y-intercept. And our y-intercept is at positive 3. So that means it's the point 0, 3. So remember, the y-intercept is where our graph crosses our y-axis. So it's going to be right up here at 0, 3. And now what we're going to do is use the slope to plot a few more points. And I'll show you guys how we can do that. So our slope is 1/2. And 1/2 is the same as having a positive 1 over a positive 2 or a negative 1 over a negative 2. And I'll show you guys why this is important. So positive 1 divided by positive 2 is going to give us a positive 1/2, and negative 1 divided by negative 2 is also going to give us a positive 1/2. So our slope is our rise over our run. So if we're looking at this top one, that is positive 1 over positive 2, this tells us that we can go 1 up, that's our rise, and then 2 to the right, because up and right are both positive. Now the bottom one, which is negative 1 over negative 2, tells us that we can go 1 down. So our rise would be 1 down, and our run would be 2 to the left, because down and left are both negative. And now I'll show you guys how we can use this to plot some more points. So we're going to go to this point that we have on our graph that's at 0, 3. And we're going to use this first one up here that says 1 up and 2 right. So we're going to go to the point on our graph, our y-intercept, and we are going to move 1 unit up and 2 units to the right, and we are going to get another point that's going to be on our graph. So we're going to plot another point on our graph. And we can continue doing this an infinite amount of times to plot points. So we're going to do it one more time. So we can go 1 up and 2 to the right, and we will get another point right here. And now what I want to show you guys is that you could have also gone down and left. Now you don't have to do that. You only probably need a couple points on your graph, but it is useful to understand the different ways you can use your slope to graph some points. So now we're going to go 1 down and 2 left from our starting point of this y-intercept. So we're going to go 1 down and 2 to the left, and we'll get a point right here. And we'll do that again. 1 down, 2 to the left, we'll get a point right here. And you should notice that all these points are on the same line. So I'm actually going to plot the points in yellow so that you can see them a little bit better. So now we have these 5 points that fall on our line, and we can just draw a straight line through them. So that is how we graph y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Let's go through another example. So example 2 is y equals negative 3x minus 4. So let's start by identifying our m value and our b value. So m is negative 3 and b is negative 4. So what we want to do first is plot our y-intercept. And remember, our b value is our y-intercept. So we're going to plot the point 0, negative 4. So we're going to go to our graph and plot 0, negative 4. So we're always just going to start by plotting our y-intercept. And now we want to use our slope to plot more points. So remember, our m value is our slope. And our slope this time is a whole number, but I think it's useful to write slopes as fractions. So we're going to write our slope as negative 3 over 1. And now we could have also written this as positive 3 over negative 1. So negative 3 divided by 1 is negative 3, and positive 3 divided by negative 1 is also negative 3. So if we do negative 3 over 1, remember slope is rise over run, this tells us we can go down 3 and to the right 1. But if we're using the slope of 3 over negative 1, this tells us we can go up 3 and to the left 1. So I'll show you guys how to use both to plot some points. So now we're going to go back to our graph. We're going to look at this initial point we plotted. And let's go down 3 into the right 1 first. So we're going to go down 3 to the right 1. And we can only do that once because we're going to be off our graph if we keep going. So now let's go back to our y-intercept and we're going to go up 3 and to the left 1. And we'll get a point right here. And let me just put these in yellow. And I'm just going to do 3 points for this line. And we're going to draw a straight line through these points. So that is how we graph the equation y equals negative 3x minus 4. Let's go through one more of these just to make sure we've got it down. So for this last example, I encourage you guys to try it on your own, and then you can watch me work through it to make sure you've solved it correctly. So for example 3, we have y equals negative 5/3 x plus 2. So let's first figure out what our m and our b values are. So m is negative 5 over 3, and that is going to be our slope. And b is positive 2, and that is going to be our y-intercept. And now step 1 is going to be plot the y-intercept. So we're going to plot the point 0, 2. And now we want to use the slope to plot a few more points. So to plot more points. So our slope is negative 5 over 3. And we want to remember this can be negative 5 over positive 3, or it could be positive 5 over negative 3. If we're looking at negative 5 over positive 3, this is telling us that we can go down 5 and to the right 3. And if we're looking at 5 over negative 3, this is telling us that we could also go up 5 and to the left 3. So now we're going to plot a couple points using these two different versions of our slope. So let's do the down 5, right 3 first. So we're going to start at our y-intercept of 2. We're going to go down 5 units and to the right 3 units. And we'll plot a point right here. And now we're going to go back to our y-intercept of 2, and we're going to go up 5 units and to the left 3 units. And we're going to put a point right there. And now I'm just going to put these points in yellow instead. And now we can just draw a straight line through these 3 points. And that is how you graph y equals negative 5/3 x plus 2. So hopefully this video helped you guys understand how to graph linear equations that are written in slope-intercept form. If you want some more practice with problems similar to these, check out the link in our description for a free practice worksheet.